Hello students, I hope you all are doing fine at home and you all are concentrating on the classes. So welcome to today's chemistry class. We are dealing with the chapter structure of an atom, wherein we are in the topic about the developments of the Bohr's atomic model. And we have been studying the dual nature of electromagnetic radiations, which was a concept in order for the development of this Bohr's atomic model. So when we talk about this dual nature, it means that the electromagnetic radiation or the light, it consists of both wave nature as well as a particle nature. We have spoken about the wave nature of an electromagnetic radiation, wherein what is a wave, how does it propagate, and it is made up of the electric fields and the magnetic fields which are perpendicular to each other, and also they are perpendicular to the direction of propagation of light. So these are few of the properties of this wave. Then later on, in the previous class, we have studied about the black body radiation. So what do you mean by a black body? It is an object, okay? It is an ideal body which can absorb all the radiations and they can emit those radiations too. So it is an ideal body. Now for example, if you take the example of sun can absorb the radiations and it can give it out too. Like you have the UV rays, it can exhibit IR, visible. So you can see that most of the radiations are being emitted by the sun. So we have also seen the intensity of the wave. How does it vary according to different temperatures? So as you keep on increasing the temperature, the intensity of the wave increases. I have shown it to you through a graph, right? And then Max Planck, he gives expression wherein energy is actually equal to h nu. H nu is nothing but h is Planck's constant, where the value is actually 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule seconds, and nu is nothing but the frequency of the light, incident light or the emitted one. So that's the expression. So there, how do we conclude that an electromagnetic radiation is actually made up of a particle type? How? Because when a solid, when you supply temperature to a solid, the particles in a solid starts vibrating. So as you keep on increasing the temperature, the particles in a solid, they start vibrating more and more. So this vibrational energy is being given out as a radiation. Or you see the glow. I gave you an example of the iron rod where it starts glowing with different colors. So this emitted radiation is being shown up as a glow or different colors. Why is this? Because the particles in a solid, they start vibrating in their own position, which is released out as energy, and that energy is said to be quantized. What do you mean by quantized? They are in a particular value, they are in an integer value. That's why we give E is equal to NH nu. Got it? So we call it as the packets of energy being released. Like a group, it is being released. Okay, that's why you see the emitted radiation in a metal or a solid. So here, these packets of energy are also called as quanta or photons. Photons are being released. Okay, so this packets of energy is called as photon. Moving on with today's topic, that is photoelectric effect, which is a second concept which actually proves that an electromagnetic radiation is made up of a particle type. It is actually a particle, it has a particle nature. So that is proved by another concept which is called photoelectric effect. Now by the name itself you see that it is photoelectric, which means that photo in the sense it is light. Something related to light. Okay, electric effect. Now, there was a scientist named Hertz in 1887. What does he do? He takes a metal plate, metals like potassium, cesium, rubidium, which come in the group 1. Why did he choose these metal plates? Because in the group 1, the elements can lose the electrons very easily, right? So ejection of electrons should be seen. That was his main principle. Ejection in the sense giving out electrons. Easily which can give out the electrons or lose electrons was considered here. Now he took up the metal plates like potassium, rubidium, cesium, and then he puts glass tube and he connects it to a battery. Now, as soon as a light is being incident on this plate, okay, light of a suitable frequency was incident in this plate, okay, he sees that there are ejection of electrons as soon as this light is being incident on it. Okay, there is release of electrons from these plates. Now, how does he come to know that whether the electrons are being ejected? What does he do? He keeps a positive plate towards this end, and then if he places a positive plate, then electrons are negatively charged. Then they start attracting, or they start coming towards the positive side, positive plate. So this was seen by Hertz, and this ejection of electrons, okay, when a light of suitable frequency, so that this is denoted as H nu. Why? Because a light of suitable frequency we see. That's why I written as H nu. H is Planck's constant. So when a light of suitable frequency falls onto the metal, there is ejection of electrons. Okay, and that particular effect of ejection of electrons is called photoelectric effect. So ejection of electrons from the metal surface when light of suitable frequency strikes on it, this effect is called photoelectric effect. So mainly it is release of electrons from the metal plates when the light of a particular frequency falls on it. So you find it interesting, right? This is really interesting. How can the ejection of electrons take place when just light falls on it? Let us look into more about this topic now. Now these ejected electrons from the metal surface, that's why we say photo. Why? Because it is light. We are talking about the light here. That's why the ejected electrons are called photoelectrons. They are called photoelectrons. So these are called the photoelectrons. I hope this is clear. Now, when he did this experiment, okay, he also found out some of the observations by this photoelectric effect. So first one was that electrons are ejected from the metal surface. Okay, as soon as the light falls on the metal surface, there was an ejection of electrons. Got it? There is no time lag. As soon as a light of particular frequency falls onto the metal surface, there is ejection of electrons. So this was the first observation made by Hertz. Okay. The second one, each metal has a minimum frequency. Now coming back to this metal plates which are being kept, each particular metal will have a certain frequency in order to eject the electrons. What is the definition here? I told you, a light of suitable frequency. So suitable frequency in the sense, for each metal there is some frequency with which it can eject the electrons. So each metal has a minimum frequency in order to, that capacity in order to eject the electrons, and this frequency is called threshold frequency. Threshold frequency, and that is denoted by the symbol nu naught. Nu naught. So that's the minimum energy, initial one. What does it? What is the capacity of a metal in order to eject the electrons when a particular frequency of light falls on it? So this is called the threshold frequency. Minimum energy in order to eject the electrons, okay, from a metal surface is called threshold frequency. So, potassium has a value of 5.0 into 10 to the power 14 Hertz. So that's the minimum threshold frequency for potassium metal. In the same way, different metals will have different values. So that's the second one. So no matter how intense is the light, how brighter is the light, or how faster is the light, nothing matters here. This should have a threshold frequency. They will have a minimum value in order to eject the electrons. Then only there is photoelectric effect. That's the second point. And the third one, number of electrons ejected is directly proportional to the intensity of the light. So how many electrons are being ejected from this metal surface is directly proportional to the intensity of the light. Intensity in the sense, how darker is the light, like you say light yellow and dark yellow. So there is a difference. Why? Because the intensity of the light is more there. Okay. So as the intensity of the light is said to be more, also increase. That's why we say the number of electrons ejected is directly proportional to the intensity of the light. How brighter is the light or how lighter is it? That depends on the number of electrons. It is directly proportional to the number of electrons which are being ejected from the metal surface. Hope this is clear. And the last observation is kinetic energy increases with the increasing frequency. Now, as you increase the frequency of the light, if the frequency of the light is said to be more, then the kinetic energy of these ejected photoelectrons is high. Okay, the faster they move. So, higher the frequency of the light or higher is the energy of that light, faster they can be kicked out of this metal surface and faster they can move. That's why we say kinetic energy increases with the increasing frequency. Okay, so these are the 4 observations made by Hertz during this experiment of photoelectric effect. First one is electrons are ejected from the metal surface. There is no time lag. As soon as the light falls onto the metal surface, there is ejection of electrons. And the second one is each metal will have a minimum frequency to eject the electrons. That's called threshold frequency. And the third one is number of electrons ejected is directly proportional to the intensity of the light. How darker is the light, more number of electrons will be ejected. And the kinetic energy depends on the frequency. Higher the frequency of the light, higher is the kinetic energy. Faster is the movement of the electrons from the metal surface. Okay, so these are the observations made up by Hertz. So now here when you talk about this photoelectric effect and the observations which are made by Hertz, when you compare it to classical mechanics. Now what do you mean by this classical mechanics? It is a part of study wherein they learn about the motion of the particles present in matter. Okay, each particle, what is the motion of these particles are being studied in classical mechanics. But according to this classical mechanics, as per the observations which were made by this photoelectric effect, the kinetic energy, the speed of the particles must be dependent on the intensity of the radiation, okay, or the intensity of the light. So brighter the light, more should be the kinetic energy of the particles. It was said like that in classical mechanics. But in our photoelectric effect, we have made an observation wherein the intensity does not depend on the kinetic energy. It is independent of this kinetic energy, but intensity depends on what? It depends on number of electrons, right? So number of electrons depends on the intensity. So higher the intensity, more are the number of electrons ejected from the metal surface. But energy, that is kinetic energy, actually depends on the frequency of the incident light. Okay. So these observations which were made by this photoelectric effect was totally different from what it was considered in the classical mechanics. Okay. So for example, if you see here, how do they prove that intensity doesn't depend on the kinetic energy of these particles? Red light, okay, very bright red light if you take, okay, and you make it to strike onto the potassium metal, that's why I've written K, potassium metal, okay. The frequency of this light is said to be around 4.3 into 10 to the power 14 Hertz, okay. So when this bright red light was passed, there was no ejection of electrons happening from the potassium metal surface. Okay, there was no ejection of electrons and hence there was no photoelectric effect only. But a slightly lighter intense yellow light, it's not even darker, very light intense yellow light when it was made to strike onto the potassium metal with a frequency of 5.1 to 5.2, okay, around that range into 10 to the power 14 Hertz. Then the photoelectrons were ejected, or the photoelectric effect was actually possible there. Now why is this? Okay, because the threshold frequency, I told you what is threshold frequency? The minimum energy or the minimum frequency from which a metal can eject electrons. So the minimum frequency of potassium metal was around 5.0 to 10 to the power 14 Hertz. So here only you can make out and compare that even a brighter red or higher intensity cannot, eject the electrons from a metal surface. Got it? It has a minimum frequency. More than that, that is yellow light, okay, which is 5.1, can eject the electrons from the metal surface. That's why they say it is the threshold frequency for different metals, which can make the ejection of electrons possible. Hence, red light is not possible. You remember the electromagnetic spectrum, arrangement of these different electromagnetic radiations. You found that in the visible range, you have the VIBGYOR colors, right? So then you see that red has a very less frequency and then violet has a very higher frequency. So red is said to be having a minimum frequency, right? And here yellow is said to be having more frequency. That's why it can take out the electrons from the potassium metal, wherein the threshold frequency of potassium metal is around 5.0 into 10 to the power 14 Hz. So this is what the observation was made by the photoelectric effect. Okay. So mainly you should remember that the number of electrons is actually proportional to intensity of the light, and kinetic energy is proportional to the energy. Energy in the sense frequency. How energetic is the frequency of the light, then the speed of the electrons ejected will also be faster. Moving on. Einstein in 1905, okay, he takes this Planck's theory of electromagnetic radiation. So he gives an expression where E is equal to h nu. Right? So I told you these packets of energy which are being released from a metal, they are called photons. Photo, light. So that energy, packets of energy released are called as photons. Now, when a photon of sufficient energy, okay, they strike onto that metal surface, the electrons are being ejected. Right? Now, how are these being ejected inside a metal? Suppose you have, something like this, a metal, and you have electrons or the particles present. So, when a photon of energy, that's why we say h nu, right? So, photon, packets of energy keep falling onto the metal surface. What happens? These photons with much energy, they strike these electrons from the metal and then they release. So this is what is happening inside. So they transfer their energy. These photons, they will transfer their energy to the electrons present inside the metal surface, and that's how, on the metal surface, and that's how it is very easy to eject the electrons. So they transfer their energy and then kick out. Got it? So this is what happens inside. Now, what does he relate from this? From the Planck's theory of electromagnetic radiation. Photon has an energy h nu. This you all know. Incident frequency will have photons, okay, which has an energy which is equal to h nu. H is the Planck's constant, nu is the frequency of the light. And minimum energy or the threshold frequency of a metal is h nu naught. Incident frequency is at h nu. H nu naught is, for a particular metal, what is the minimum energy to eject the electrons out? That is h nu naught, right? Now this, threshold frequency or nu naught is also called the work function. Work function. How much energy is required to eject electrons, or the minimum energy is also called work function, which is denoted by W naught 2. This can be both h nu naught or W naught. Okay. Now this is called the work function. Now, from these, okay, from the Planck's theory, he gives an expression which is very, very important, where h nu is equal to h nu naught plus half mv square. Now you know that this is the expression for the kinetic energy. Kinetic energy, the formula is half mv square. Any frequency of this light or the photon which is having the energy h nu, which is incident onto the metal surface, okay, here h nu is equal to h nu naught. H nu naught is what? It is a threshold frequency, minimum energy of the metal, and the rest of the energy is being, taken out as the kinetic energy. Minimum, how much, energy the incident light has, that goes and hits the electrons from the metal surface. So there is threshold frequency, and the remaining energy will be produced as the kinetic energy. So this is like a difference, okay, that h nu and h nu naught, that's totally the work function, how much energy totally is required to be produced as a kinetic energy of the electrons. Okay, so here this, if it is higher, this remains fixed, threshold frequency remains fixed, that's the fixed value for a metal, and this also will be higher. So higher the energy of the photon, then higher would be the kinetic energy. So this was brought up in the same expression. Got it? So this gives a relation about the frequency and the kinetic energy of the particles. Higher the frequency of the light, higher will be the kinetic energy, but higher the intensity of the light, the number of electrons produced will be more. You can just imagine something like this. There is a wave, okay, and then there are particles present, right? Something like this. Now when we say higher the intensity means number of electrons are more, I told you. So here in that wave the number of electrons will be more. That's why we say higher the intensity of the light. So in that particular wave there are more number of particles present. That's why we say higher the brightness. So brightness depends on the number of particles being more in that particular radiation. Okay, but higher the frequency of the light, frequency in the sense of energy, higher is their energy, then they can easily transfer the energy to the electrons present in the metal surface, they will run away faster. So this is what makes them increase in the kinetic energy. So this is expression h nu is equal to h nu naught plus half mv square, where h is a Planck's constant, nu naught is threshold frequency, me is a mass of electron, and v is the velocity, okay, the speed with what they move. So this is an expression for the kinetic energy of the particles. That's clear. So this is totally based on the particle nature of the electromagnetic radiation. So this proves or gives an explanation for the particle nature of the electromagnetic radiation, and hence we conclude that this light, they had a lot of controversies going on wherein they should agree with wave nature or the particle nature. Hence they totally say that they have to take up both, that an electromagnetic radiation will have both wave nature as well as a particle nature. So there is dual nature of electromagnetic radiation, that's what they say. Now if you talk about a matter, okay, matter is what? Anything which has mass and occupies space. So anything with matter, okay, if there is an interaction between the light and the matter, then we talk it as a particle nature. Got it? If there is an interaction with the matter, okay, but if it is through space, that like the empty space or vacuum, then we consider it to be a wave type. Okay, electromagnetic radiation is a wave type of character. That's how we say. So when it is interacting with the matter or an object, then it is acting like a particle type, but in an empty space or vacuum, it is acting like a wave type. That's why we conclude that the electromagnetic radiations will have both wave nature and the particle nature. So I hope this is clear. We started from the wave nature, okay. Then we studied about the particle nature, wherein the black body radiation is very important, and also the photoelectric effect. The observations made up in the photoelectric effect are also important, and this expression, so from this expression the problems would be asked. Okay, so you should know this, and also the Planck's constant. Then yeah, so I hope you understood this concept. So please complete your worksheets, and in the next class we will solve few of the problems, and then we will move on to the Bohr's atomic model. So I hope you are clear with this class. See you in the next class, children. Thank you.